YouTube! If you're watching this channel right now, you already know you're spending some downtime with Demille. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day whenever you're watching this video. So, this video today is going to be a different video because I'm going to be doing a flip-through review of a book from a show, a popular Netflix show called Stranger Things. And the name of this book is Stranger Things, World Turned Upside Down. I'm going to be doing a flip-through review of this book, and also I'm going to be just talking about the show, not a full-fledged review, just a brief overview of what I thought about all 4 seasons so far, and just gonna look forward to talking about something that is so cool. This show, if you've seen it, you already know. If you're watching this video, you already know that, you know, the show is great, and you probably wouldn't be watching this if you didn't think so. So before we get into all of that, if this is your first time visiting the channel, and if you like the content that I produce, don't forget to leave a Hulk smash on that like. Likes really help the channel out in a big way. Also, if you really like the content that I produce, consider hitting that subscribe. Also hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time a new video goes live on this channel. So let's talk about Stranger Things. So I will admit, I'm a late bloomer. I literally just finished all 4 seasons of Stranger Things like maybe 2 weeks ago. As of August, what's today's date? August 26th. I know that's bad. I was a late bloomer. I knew about the show. I just couldn't get into it at first. But then when everybody started talking about Stranger Things 4 and the way it ended, I was like, okay, I gotta get into this. So I just binge watched the entire like 4 seasons in a matter of like 2 weeks. And I enjoyed every single moment of it. Okay, so basic premise about Stranger Things. Stranger Things is a Netflix show. It takes place in a town called Hawkins, Indiana. And it's a small town, obviously. And so you've got these kids that, you know, are basically just, you know, your average kids. They get into trouble, and the show really follows, you know, their story and how they deal with a lot of challenges that normal kids would not have to deal with. Things like the supernatural, things like the upside down. And, you know, I always think of this show as like X-Men meets Nightmare on Elm Street, because that's the closest thing that I can think of. You know, that makes the most sense when I think about that comparison. So you got this one character, and this is why I say it reminds me of X-Men. You got this one character played by Millie Bobby Brown. The character's name is 11. And she's had some issues, you know, coming up. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but let's just say there's some people that did some things to her, and she's trying to get away from them. And, you know, she has these telekinetic powers. She can crush objects. She can pick up whole vehicles and throw them around. Now, who in the Marvel Cinematic Universe does that remind you of? Who can throw metal objects and crush metal? That's all I'm gonna say. So anyway, this show is really good. I really like how they delve into the alternate reality of the Upside Down, which is really interesting. And some of the best moments, especially of season 4, happened in the Upside Down, when you had a character, Eddie Munson, who's probably a play on Eddie Munster, from a long time ago. If you guys remember that, you know, there was a really cool scene where we had a guitar sequence in the Upside Down world, or the Upside Down at the end of the season. I'm not going to get into why that was happening. You'll just have to watch it in case you hadn't already seen it. But I'll just say this show has provided some really great, memorable moments. And one of the best things about this show, in my opinion, I love 80s nostalgia. Oh my God, if you like 80s nostalgia, whether it be music, whether it be cartoons, whether it be video games, they got you covered. This show is amazing. I'm so looking forward to season 5, and yeah, can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and move into the review of the Stranger Things, The World Turned Upside Down book. So as you all know, if any of you really know me, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm an animator, and you know that one of the things I really love doing is collecting art books, or specifically the art of books. Any movie that has, you know, some kind of impact on me or influence, I always try to find the art of book for that movie. And while this book is not necessarily the art of, it is a companion book which really has some really great insight on the show in this book. So it's kind of like the art of. You may as well say it is. One of the really interesting things about this book is that when you purchase the book, you might be alarmed at first because it looks like it's an old, worn book. And no, that is on purpose. They specifically wanted to make the aesthetic of the book feel like the show, so you can see like the worn edges around the sides and things like that. And it really makes you feel like this is a part of the Stranger Things universe. So, you know, congrats to the people that put this book together, because it is truly amazing. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get right into the flip through review of this book, Stranger Things World Turned Upside Down. I don't need my headphones for this, so here we go. Let's do this. All right, so here's the Stranger Things World Upside Down book, and this is basically what it looks like when you open it. This book, if I'm not mistaken, is around 223 or 230 pages. And, you know, there's a lot of text in the book, but there's also a lot of full pictures as well. So what I did was I didn't spend a whole lot of time on the text, because I know that you probably can't see a whole lot, you know, or read a whole lot based on the camera view. So I spent more time on the art. So this is basically, this gives you an idea of the era of this show. It takes place in the 80s. And this book and the show is also inspired by a lot of those films that you just saw on that page. And, you know, one of the things, like I said before, you know, one of the really cool things about this show that I like is the 80s nostalgia. There is tons of 80s nostalgia all through this show. You see the influences from the Breakfast Club there. There's Dungeons and Dragons, you know, and, you know, here's a picture of the Wheelers' basement. You know, Mike Wheeler, he's one of the main stars in the show. And this is like just a profile of each character. There's Dustin. He's probably one of my favorites. He's the funniest guy in my opinion. He's really funny. He's probably my favorite. And so there's Lucas. You know, we got to have a brother in there. Come on now. We got to have a brother in Hawkins, Indiana. So Lucas is cool. And then there's Will. He plays a major role in the first series, in the first season. I'm not going to get into spoilers here, but if you have watched season 1, then you know what I'm talking about. Welcome to Hawkins, Indiana. This is basically where they live, you know, and you know, these are some behind the scenes set photos. That's David Arbor, who plays Hopper. He's like the police chief of Hawkins. These are the houses that the Wheelers and I think the Byers live. You know, that's the Wheeler family right there. And that's the inside of their house. And, you know, these are just really cool behind the scenes, you know, on set photos. That's still the, let's see, that is I think that's the Byers room. So, you know, you just got a lot of interesting information here. And this is where 11, played by Millie Bobby Brown, was actually being held. And that's her crushing that can. You know, I just feel like X-Men had to play a part or some kind of influence in this, just because you see her wearing that you know, apparatus on her head. It kind of reminds you of Cerebro a little bit. So, you know, I just thought that was really a fascinating correlation between the two. And, you know, this is, I believe this is their part of their school. That's the AV club. So, you know, all this nostalgia, you know, is just so interesting to me. what I really like about what they do with the music too, when you're watching the show, they play these iconic songs at like the perfect time, the absolute perfect time. It's really, really cool. And there's some storyboard art. So like I said, the book actually has, it's not, while it's not called the art of book, it is in a lot of ways an art book. So, you know, they have a lot of that in there. And this book, one of the things I really like about it, and I can't say it enough, you're gonna see this in just a moment. And there's Nancy Wheeler, by the way. You're gonna see this, the book actually takes you into the upside down. So you have to turn the book upside down when you get to the upside down part of the book. And that's really interesting. That's Barb Holland, Jonathan Byers. These are all people that, some of these people you see in the first season. I'm not gonna give away spoilers, but yeah, Steve, he's like, look at my hair, look at my hair, my hair, my hair. Steve is cool. He started off, you know, this is a mild spoiler, I mean, it's nothing big. But he kind of started off as kind of like a bully, but I think I liked his character a little bit more as the season progressed and as the series progressed as well. And there is 11. That little girl has some powers. Do not mess with 11. She is serious, you know. And there's Winona Ryder. She plays Will's mom. And yeah. She's a great actress in this movie. I mean, in this series, which is basically like a movie. David Harbour, he plays Hopper. You know, yeah. And I've got to go back and just like, you know, read a lot of this because I've just kind of skimmed through just for the portion of, you know, the video. But there is so much great insight into the Duffer Brothers' imagination in terms of what they were thinking when they did certain things with this show. And it's all in this book. And that's where I believe, you know, if you're an art lover, if you love collecting the art of books, then you'll really appreciate, you know, this particular book, especially on a show like this. So this is where you actually turn the book upside down, and now you're in the upside down world. And there are some spoilers here, so you know, that's a Demogorgon. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Those things, man, you know, they look like they came straight out of Resident Evil, I'm not gonna lie. And so this is the world where, this is the alternate reality. This is where you don't wanna end up. You do not wanna end up in the upside down. That is not where you wanna be at all. You know, this is where the show starts to turn into like a Nightmare on Elm Street kind of thing. But really, really interesting though, really good. Really interesting how they interweave upside down with their actual own reality. And so you can see some of the influence here. There's Big Doug, you know, lots of really cool stuff. That was a cool scene. Friends don't lie to each other. If you've seen it, you know. You know. There's Billy. Didn't really care for his character in the early beginning, you know, for obvious reasons. There's Max. The arcade, oh my God, that was amazing. That took me back. How many of y'all ever wanted a BMX bike? I mean, this is going way back, you know. I know I did. I really wanted a BMX. Yeah, there's a bunch of moments in this show where the callbacks are just amazing and how they tie them all in. It's really, really cool, you know. And I think that I have learned a little more about this show than I've known previously, just from watching this book. It's really helped out a whole lot. Just seeing the Duffer Brothers' influence and seeing, you know, what they were doing with certain characters. You know, this is a really big moment right there where 11 is confronted with somebody that she didn't know existed. So Not gonna say what's going on there, but you gotta see the show. And so I think we're starting to get close to the end of the book. There's still a little bit more to go, but you know, there's so many different little Easter eggs. And by the way, this book only covers seasons 1 through 2. So if you're looking to see like seasons 3 and 4 in this book, it will not cover those particular seasons. So really just 1 and 2. And so, yeah, this, man, that was probably a really cool moment. The Snowball season finale of season 2, that was really, really cool. This is the mixtape book. This shows all the 80s music that's played in seasons 1 and 2. So you can actually relive that. They've got, you know, art posters for seasons 1 and 2 here. And this is pretty much the end of the book. And they're getting ready to show, if I'm not mistaken, a Morse code card. And that's interesting. I've always wanted, and there's a part in the show where they actually show that, where they talk about one of the characters is having to use that to communicate, and they show that. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what that is. And so, yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's an Easter egg that I have not figured out yet. If you know what this particular Easter egg is, feel free to post that down in the comments below. And that is basically Stranger Things, World Turned Upside Down. So I really enjoyed this book. I thank you so much for taking a moment to watch this flip through with me. My camera battery is about to die, so hopefully I can finish this video before it ends. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. On the way out, hit that like if you like this video, share this video. And as I always say, if you can see this video, man, you are truly blessed. And as always, what are you gonna do in your downtime? Peace! And I beat the battery, yes! Subscribe!